Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Today I want to talk to you a bit about my SPS position as well as my next steps. Things are looking good, of course, in Splinterlands as well as with SPS directly across, the last 60, 90 days. But I think it's a drop in the bucket. And so we're going to talk about that. It's a little bit of speculation, a little bit of hopium maybe, but I hope you'll stick around and have some fun with me. Let's get into it. Check it out. So we know that SPS is over a penny, and it's wrestled and fought to stay there. I think the community is if you were to, let's say, personify the pressure or the tension around that penny, I think we are literally fighting for it. Like I think there are people who value it greater than a penny, and every time it slips below, myself included, are grabbing some. And I do think there are people who feel like, wow, a penny, I'm going to sell. Which is astonishing to me, but nevertheless, that's okay. I have and I will buy it. Let's look at the last 90 days. In the last 90 days, we've had this nice parabolic move, which to me looks like a way of a first major move of probably three major moves. That's often the case. We get one, there'll be a bigger one, and a final. And so, yeah, I still think 10 cents is very plausible in the context of Splinterlands SPS token, Splinter Shards token, and I do so for a lot of reasons. That's fundamental stuff. That's some of which we'll talk about in this video, but that's as well as I do think fundamentals get thrown out the window when there is moves of that nature. Plus, I think the broader market. Plus, I think inflation in the global markets. Fiat printing leads to speculative purchases. That's history, and I think that'll continue. And I think it's actually going to ramp up, especially in Canada, where I am, because of certain choices, let's say. So, anyways, we were down here in the last 90 days. We're 650, 630, 610 splintoshis. So 6/10 of a penny on an SPS. Oh, right over here is even lower. 561. 561, like just over half a penny. And now we shoot up to 1.4. That was, by the way, that low price was in March 10th, 2025. And so from March 10th, 2025 till April 18th, we doubled in price. And now, of course, we pulled back, and that's normal, and that's fine, and that's to be expected, probably for a lot of reasons. I think one of the main reasons, there's always pullbacks, so you don't really need to justify why there would be pullbacks. But I do think, if you want fundamental reasons, you have to recognize that people needed to prepare for some of their positions within Conclave Arcana, and so they bought certain amounts of SPS in order to burn it, in order to activate within the context of the leaderboard and to activate as many packs as they could. We know that's the story for people like Matt. Like I don't know that he bought them, but he had millions of SPS that he burnt. That was documented. And by the way, that's an amazing indication why you should believe in Splinterlands, because a man like Matt, who's driving force of Splinterlands, is actively taking steps to improve tokenomics personally. And I think he's not the only one. There's many people that are doing that sort of thing, and that's amazing, and that's noteworthy. Let's say so preparation for Conclave meant buying SPS. It also meant burning much of it in order to prepare for to make the DEC purchases. And that was, people front ran that, right? That was part of what led to a pricing decline. And then there has to be a sort of a breath as the Conclave launches and the pre-sales is currently undergoing. And there, like I say, within the first 24 hours, there's $800,000 that went into this pre-sale. And then for the next 3 or 4 days, it's been relatively quiet. It's been like another 100,000. That's not nothing, but there's a front running of that valuation, which causes, in some sense, this spike. And maybe it's a disproportionate sort of price increase, but that's as I said earlier, price increases are not just based on fundamental considerations. They're also based on, the factors of like exuberance. Like the FOMO isn't logical. It just, when it starts to happen, things get carried away. And that's why, 1.5 cents was really fast, man. But 10 cents is like, sounds crazy, but it just, it isn't all fundamentals, but yet there are good fundamentals. I hope that's the point I'm making here. And so then What have I been doing with my SPS? Yeah, I mean, I've been watching the 1 cent line, and as it comes through, I've gone from 375,000 SPS in the last month to what you see on the screen here, 910,000. I have wanted a million SPS for a long time, and this is the closest I think I've ever been. Um, I've in the past, years ago, I had a good amount of SPS. Oh, I forget how much. I want to say 400,000 probably, and I used some of it to get validator notes. And then that seemed like a bad idea at the first, because of how long validator notes were taking. But ultimately, it helped me get more SPS because the SPS price shrank as compared to the validator node prices. And so it allowed me to move in to spend more on, or try to get more out of my SPS and to multiply my SPS. There's been moves along the last years that have brought me up and down and left and right on this stuff. But now here we are, we're staring at a million. And my battle rewards are doing great, man. Check this out. Survival mode 2400. This is toward the end of the season, so mind you, that was a real burnout price, or production. I sent everybody full send, and that's what we were able to pull in a 24-hour window. But these rewards are meaningful, man. Not only survival, but yes, throughout the season I was doing rank reward, wild, automation, and next season I'm going to try and dial in some of my card usage, so I have a rank reward wild set that can't be burnt in the context of survival, and then I'll also have my survival set, and I think that's going to be the path to maximizing sort of both lanes. And so, man, this is exciting. I am eager to see more of this, and I do think I'm not the only one. In fact, I know for a fact, otherwise the number wouldn't hold at a penny right now. But I think there's a lot of people who agree with me that sub 1 penny SPS was a bargain, and even 1 penny SPS is a bargain, and that long term or even medium term, there's reason to be bullish on this token. There's reason to be bullish in this game, and I think more people want more SPS than less SPS, and so I am very confident in this position. In fact, it is not a short-term position exactly, but it's a long-term position, but I would be happy to sell some into profit. And so you'll notice I've got, let's see, if we go a little deeper, of the 910,000, I have 192,000 liquid. And I don't know that I want to sell that, but if that was 10 cents, I probably move that around. Maybe that becomes conclave packs, or maybe it becomes conclave packs. So that's kind of where my head's at. There's a lot more I could say on that. I would love to see your comments on this conversation, because some of you are going to think 10 cents is ridiculous. Some of you think 10 cents is not even close to enough. Some of you think conclave, is overrated. Some of you think, you're trying to sell everything that's not nailed down. And so I know there's a tension and a distinction or a line in the sand, in terms of some of what I've been saying in this video that are probably going to drive some interesting thoughts. And I look forward to reading them. Thanks, guys. I'll leave it there. Have an amazing day. God bless.